Are you ready, Bomber fans? Let us relish in Dominic Ryan's throwing the game.
Yes, go down, you fuck!
Let us look at the Lions taking penalties in overtime, not protecting their quarterback to save their life, failing to do absolutely anything to Oliveira. So congratulations, you own second in the West. All for the glorious W.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Bomber Game reaction. And oh boy, am I happy about this one. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeat the BC Lions by a score of 34-26 to essentially get us West Final in Winnipeg to lock up the Western Division, or the Western Conference, whatever you want to call it, of the CFL. As right now, the only way the Bombers don't is if they lose every game and BC wins every game. Because first off, we were the same record as BC going into this, so we have 2 points ahead of them. But we also have the tiebreaker. So if BC somehow caught up and had the same amount of points, we would still win. As we've beat them twice, they've beat us once. So Bombers essentially have clinched up the West, as they would have to royally screw the pooch and BC to play perfect for it to not to go that way. And that's just not going to happen. I'm calling it now. I know, bold thing to say. So, how am I feeling about this? So, there's a lot about this game. The first half was both good and not good, depending on certain aspects. Second, I'll just get into it. Pregame. So, Patrick Neufeld is not in. He's not cleared. So it sounds like it was one of a more precautionary sort of thing. And what I mean by that is in the sense of he's a little injured. Could he have, if this was a playoff game, would he still have went in? Probably based on the sound of the way they described it. But because there's Eli, because it's not a playoff game, and it is a very important game, but it's one of those things where we have Eli there. We got some offensive lineman depth, so not needed. I wasn't sure if they tried putting in Liam Dobson. He's played a little bit in gray spot on the left guard, so I wasn't sure if they wanted to transfer him to right guard, but they put in Eli, and he played solid. Overall, I was pretty happy with the offensive line, but before we get to that, still in the pregame, Janarian Grant is back. Janarian Grant is back for the Bombers, which is huge, because he has been very, very, very much missed. He was on the 6 game for a while. After 6 games, got extended, still on the 6 game. However, it's funny because they didn't move him to the standard injury reserve. They just said, oh yeah, by the way, he's ready, he's good to go, which was just awesome to hear. Got to see a bit of that today. Now, he kind of struggled in the fact of having no blocks in front of him and DC being really, really good downfield and getting to him. But he was able to do much more than what Parker and McCray were doing. So just Janarian Grant is our absolute number 1 returner in that regard. So glad that he is back. But let's get into the first quarter here of this game. There would be a strong push by the Lions to start the game, and the Lions would end up with a field goal, making it 3-0 BC. Castillo would go for a long 48-yard field goal attempt. Missed this one wide. I don't blame this one on Castillo. It was a bad snap. And so essentially Sheehan tries to get that set up ideally, but he doesn't get it quite the way that he would like. And because of that, Castillo is not really able to get as good of a hit on that. So don't really blame that on Castillo. By the way, if you want to know a little bit more about Sergio Castillo, wonderful, wonderful person. We actually have a full interview with him, about 28-30 minutes long, on CFL Central. So make sure you go check that out. It's the CFL Central podcast, episode 6 with Sergio Castillo, your Winnipeg Blue Bomber. But moving on, we would get called on defensive pass interference in the end zone. Not going to lie, I was not a fan of this call. I thought this was really weak. O'Shea would challenge this play. I was actually happy he challenged the call on the field stand. And so I guess, their determined was that It was not enough evidence to overturn the call on the field. It was kind of difficult because the call on the field was defensive pass interference. I'm not going to lie. I could not stand the commentator tonight. I'm trying to remember exactly what his name was. It was like, oh, what was it? I'm sorry. I'm going to look at my messages here as I'm trying to find, because I texted my friend. I texted Rick from CFL Central about it. But Farhan Lalji, that's what it was. I could not stand him this game. He was so biased. And, like, I understand it. You know, he was we've done a lot of stuff with the Lions. I get that. But, like, God damn it, at least try to call the game down the middle. Like, it was kind of unbearable to watch sometimes. Although I will say, Rick would argue that Glenn Suter is maybe worse. But, like, overall, I gotta say, I wasn't crazy about this call. Lions would go and get themselves a touchdown. Convert is good, 10-0 for the Lions. Going into the second quarter, the offense is playing well. Caleros fumbles the snap. However, they move on. Castillo hits the field goal, making this... wait, did I miss here? I missed something here. Sorry. Castillo hits the field goal. Yes, 10-3 BC. Lions would get a great throw to Katoy. He would break free of Winston Rose and goes down for the touchdown for the Lions. Convert is good, 17-3 BC. BC really starting to pull away a little bit here. One big thing of note here is that we were playing very well offensively. We were playing good offensively. We struggled with our finish for a while. So the Bombers, even though this game goes to overtime, as much as BC shot themselves in the foot with Dominic Grimes' very greedy decision not to go down when he should have near the end of the game, them taking a penalty in overtime, as I joked in the pre-intro. But the Bombers made just as many mistakes shooting themselves in the foot too. As if we look at the first half of this game, the amount of times that the Bombers got in scoring range and would come out with nothing or would come out with a field goal when they absolutely should have been getting the touchdown there. You know, both teams were shooting themselves in the foot at certain times in this game. So I don't really buy that BC completely threw this game away in the sense that the Winnipeg never deserved to win. It was very much both teams had times where they were throwing stuff away. Convert would be good, though. Like I said, 17-13 BC, 70-3 BC. Bombers would push all the way down, and Grant would get the touchdown. Convert is good, 17-10 BC. Bombers, like I said, pushing offensively, just not getting the defensive success in the first half that they hoped for. However, they would force BC to punt finally, which would be good to get them started on that in the second quarter. That would continue more later on in this game. Bombers would push it back, but Caleros throws a pick. Caleros, he got a little bit rattled on that. However, he would settle it down here through halftime, which was good. There'd be a good sack by Jackson Jeffcoat. Our defensive line and our pass rush today was fucking fantastic. Phenomenal pass rushing. Like, seriously, we got like 6 touchdowns. Vernon Adams Jr. was getting harassed this entire game. I was so proud of the way our defensive line, both our linemen, even our offensive line, you know, BC has arguably the best defense in the league, or if you would argue that the Bombers is better, which I think you can make that argument. I think it really depends on the night, honestly. Like, BC's defense is nothing to wave a stick at. Like, seriously, they have a fantastic defense, and to be able to really stop a lot of that pressure from getting to Caleros, allowing Caleros to cook, you know, was absolutely huge. So, fantastic performance by everyone in the trenches tonight. I was very, very pleased. There'd be another sack after Jeffcoat, and it would be the 4th sack of the game for the Bombers, not even the end of the second quarter. BC would challenge us for roughing the passer, claiming that, you know, he made contact with the head. He absolutely did not. I thought it was a stupid challenge, and BC would lose on this challenge because there just wasn't enough for it. It was one of those things, though, where Vernon Adams Jr. was starting to get rattled because, you know, he would get sacked. He'd then go get the first down, but then he gets sacked the very next play. This happened about 3 times in a row where he would get the first down, get sacked, get the first down, get sacked, which he's getting first downs. That's good. But taking a hit like that to your quarterback, like every second play, is not good. So I think this was BC really just trying to calm that down, make sure Vernon Adams stays calm, and really try to get a hold of this. And if he can put the pressure on the Bombers to not take that penalty, and to, lighten up on the pass rush a bit. So I can see why he makes that call, even if most likely it wasn't going to go his way. BC would punt, and then Winnipeg, we can't get anything going deep in our own zone. We would punt. Because of that, the Lions would only need one play to get themselves in the field goal range, making this 20-10 for the BC Lions going into halftime. Goes through halftime. Like I said, one of the things, they did a interview with Dalton Schoen in halftime. Love the way that he wasn't fazed by this. Again, this is something that if you'd seen our interview with Sergio Castillo, he mentioned about how one of the keys to the Bombers' success is how they're able to stay composed, especially Mike O'Shea, during the game, no matter which way the game is going. Behind by 10 points. Some people would look at that and say, like, oh, you're going behind. You're behind going into halftime. On the other side of it, it's only 10 points. Like, this is the CFL. You can get 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes if you goddamn need it. So it's like, that's nothing. Third quarter, we'd have a good return and a great first few plays. There'd be a great start. Castillo would hit the field goal, making this 20-13 BC. Vernon Adams Jr. would get sacked for the 5th time tonight, and then Sean White would go and gets his field goal for the Lions, making this 23-13, getting back to that 10-point lead. BC trying to keep the Bombers at arm's length. However, we would push it all the way down. Castillo would get a short field goal. I think it was from only the 18-yard line or whatever, making this 23-16. Striking distance, 7 points away. Bombers push it down. There would be blatant defensive pass interference on Kenny Lawler in the red zone. And this, there was no challenge to this. This was very clear that this was what was going to happen. However, Caleros gets sacked and fumbles the ball, which was just very, very frustrating. Caleros just completely... He's getting a little bit of pressure in the pocket here, tries to evade, turns around, and the guy is right there because Hardrick has pushed him out, and Betts is trying to get around, and Betts is a very difficult guy to stop. So rather than being able to push him to the side, if he can, at least guide him around Caleros, he can kind of keep that pocket available. But because Zach Caleros was going to try to get out of the pocket because he felt he had a little bit too much pressure, he literally turns around and runs right into Betts. And so he's not expecting it in the slightest. Ball comes right out. But it's one of those things where when you're leaving the pocket as a quarterback, you got to expect that you got a lot of pressure on you, that is the reason that you're leaving. So you got to have that grip on that ball. So, it is what it is, but you can't afford to give that up. Fumbles it. BC would go 2 and out. And at this point, the defense is starting to pick up for the Bombers. At this point, this is when I'm really starting to notice the excellence the O-line has been putting on tonight. Bombers offense has done well, just got to get the finish. That's all you really need. Fumbled it in the red zone once, got to head down and get it again. Bombers headed down. Caleros fumbles it 2 times in the red zones. BC Lions run it back quite a ways. I was very frustrated at this point because this was now 2 times that Caleros has fumbled the ball in the red zone, but it was one of those things where I will say, to Caleros' credit, as much as I was frustrated that he had fumbled the ball twice, there was one where he didn't see the guy coming, and the second one where they made sure when they tackled him to almost tackle him slowly, where one guy is bringing him down and the other guy is just fishing in for the ball to rip it out of him. And so again, I think anytime you fumble the ball, there's a certain amount of responsibility that's going to be on yourself. But to be fair to Caleros here, that is a very difficult ball to hold on to, as he has 2 massive men that are doing everything they can to rip this thing out of his hands, and he's not getting much help. So O-line played fantastic for this game. There were a few plays like this, though, where there was a little bit of a slip up. But again, with the BC Lions and how effective they are defensively, that is just kind of bound to happen. So overall, I think they were able to at least prevent as many of those as they can, but just kind of unfortunate it happened in the red zone twice in a row. BC would head down a bit. Sean White gets the field goal, making this 26-10 BC. BC again getting that 10-point lead that they want. Wolotarski goes down, gets the touchdown for the Bombers. Convert is good. 26-23 for the Lions. Only a 3-point lead. BC goes 2 and out. They go for it on 3rd down, and they come up just short, Bombers defense on 3rd and 1 comes up huge. Turnover on downs. Bombers go all the way down. Castillo hits the field goal, tying this game 26-26. And then, so we would kick off. BC would return, get a solid return, get to about the 50-yard line. They would go, make a throw, gets it for Dominic Grimes. Dominic Grimes has the ball very much in field goal range. He's got about 3 seconds to get down so BC can hit that field goal and win the game 29-26. However, he starts to break free and he thinks that he can get the touchdown. So he starts going. Clock strikes 0. He keeps running and Parker saves the day, lunges in, gets a little bit of Grimes and drags him down. But the thing is that the clock struck 0. Dominic Grimes with a selfish play, trying to get the glory, trying to play the hero, and actually ends up screwing it up in the regard that now BC could have won the game there with a field goal. Sean White has been the most consistent kicker in the league this year, but BC doesn't have that opportunity because he wanted the glory of the touchdown, doesn't get any of it, and that causes this game to go to overtime. And so, like I said, the Bombers in the red zone twice, fumbling the ball, kind of shooting themselves in the foot in that regard. This is BC's time where they shot themselves in the foot, where they had the opportunity to stop that play, go into field goal, hit it, win the game. If the Bombers had gotten at least a field goal on those 2 times they were in the red zone, instead of letting BC go back and get the field goal themselves, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. So like I said, both teams were throwing the games at certain points. I don't believe that it was just that play in particular, but it's going to stick out for obvious reasons. However, let's go to overtime. Bombers lose the toss. They'll have to go first. Great offense by the Bombers, able to get going. Oliveira with a fantastic game. I haven't talked that much about Oliveira, but it's because Oliveira does what he always does, which is play great damn football, driving the ball through, really putting a lot of pressure, whether he's going off to the side, receiving it and running forward, whether he's just running it and smacking it right up the middle on like a halfback's dive, like those dive plays. I'm so pleased with Brady Oliveira. And then BC would take an illegal contact penalty, giving us a first down, and then Brady Oliveira gets himself a touchdown. Come on.
Hey, let's go!
There we go. And I literally just remembered, I forgot to mention this, but before we get to the next one, we have, this video is very much sponsored. Do you find yourself not having razors with skin-safe technology?
Carter!
Yeah?
Do you have a razor?
Yeah, here's this no-name one.
Oh, okay.
That's where Manscaped can save the day. With Manscaped's exceptional selection of products, you can find every tool for the job, like the Lawnmower 4.0.
I don't know, it looks like the same lawnmower.
No, not that one.
Carter, do you have another razor?
Yeah, here you go. Get the Lawnmower 4.0 with its impressive skin-safe technology, as well as the Beard Hedger, the Weed Whacker 2.0 for ear and nose hair trimming, and so much more from Manscaped. I must say, after receiving this product from Manscaped, I've been quite impressed with it, especially this Beard Hedger here. Me personally, this is my personal favorite, the best razor I have used, and I just love the way that you can adjust the height really easily, but they have some excellent products. So what are you waiting for? Make sure to check out the description below, click on the link, and use promo code NHP on Manscaped for 20% off your order. Now, without further ado, back to the video. Sorry about that, but that was just, you know what? You guys seriously got to check it out. They got some excellent products. I'm not even kidding. Like as much as, you know, they had sent us stuff and we're very gracious for the stuff that they had sent us. It's something that now I actually think I'm probably going to buy a little bit of stuff. So make sure you guys use code NHP for 20% off of Manscaped. But seriously, Brady Oliveira gets the touchdown. Bombers need the 2-point convert to really put the pressure on the BC Lions. And Kenny Lawler does just that.
There! Yes! 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 Woo!
Excellent play by Zach Caleros and Kenny Lawler to get this done. Time for the Lions to go on offense. Let's see. First play, they're trying to get going, but it doesn't matter because Vernon Adams Jr. gets sacked.
He's going all the way back. Oh, but he's getting... Yes! There we go! He's bring him down! That's another sack! Woo! Nice! Is that sack number 6 or 7?
I don't know.
It's a lot.
All that matters is this win.
Fucking A.
Is this win.
A sack on Vernon Adams Jr. Great way to start the defensive aspect of overtime for the Bombers. Can we keep going? There's great pressure, and it's going to be an incomplete pass for Vernon Adams Jr.
Get to him. Get to him. Get to VA. Get to him again. Come on. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. No! He's got nothing. Woo! There we go. There we go. 3rd and 18. Come on. Come on.
It's 3rd down. 3rd and 18. They got one more chance to go for it. He's going to throw Vernon Adams Jr. into double coverage. It's going to be incomplete, and we're going to see who's going to be best in the West. 3rd and 18. Shut him down, boys. Shut him down. He's going all the way. 99 got it. That's it. Game over. Best of the West. That's a win, 34-26. Hell yes. And that is it. Final score, 34-26 for your Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And I am so happy with the way this turned out. Obviously, like I said, there were times where we could have played a little better, this and that. But BC is a tough team. Overall, we showed up as much as we needed to. And so it's one of those things where I'm glad we got the win. There are things that I would tweak going forward, absolutely. But overall, there's not much to complain about. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you guys have not already. Comment down below what you guys thought of this video, of this game. And like I said, make sure you guys 20% off Manscaped. And make sure you guys go to CFL Central. Check out the interview with Sergio Castillo. And I will see you guys next time.